My name is Michael Lawton and I've lived in Bentilee from a child. My family lives here, my best friend lived here when I was a teenager, I went to primary school here, I met my first girlfriend here and now my daughter is growing up here. At 22 I moved away from the area to Badley Green up until I was 27, and when I returned I couldn't help to notice the difference in the area. The Sentinel published an article in 2019 that highlighted the fact that Bentilee was Stoke-on-Trent's most deprived area in the city, and in the headline they used the phrase, "Bentilee is God's country," a quote which was taken from a local resident. The article also mentions the low life expectancy and high levels of insolvency, but what we want to look at is if starting life out on the estate is really a disadvantage, and also what is meant by God's country and if the area really lives up to that quote, or a town that is misjudged by Stigma. There is no definite reason why Bentilee was first built. Some say it was due to the slum-like conditions of Hanley and the overcrowding it faced. Others suggest it was a way the council could house the families of the miners and pot bank workers. So, in the 1950s, the council acquired Bentilee and Ubberley Farm, and this was the beginning of, at the time, Europe's largest council estate, consisting of 2,586 houses and soon a population of over 7,000 that included miners, pot bank workers and local farmers. People from other towns such as Longton, Fenton and Hanley were flocking to Bentilee as the draw of these modern, post-World War II, 2 and 3 bedroom semi-detached houses seemed a lot more safer compared to their properties which at the time would be deemed unfit by modern standards. However, throughout the 1960s up until the 1990s there was an exodus of industries. Berry Hill Mine closed completely in the 60s and this saw a lot of mining families who moved to Bentilee left searching for a job. Many turned to pot banks, however, this was also an industry that was declining to a point where jobs were becoming scarce. The 18-year Conservative administration that lasted from 1979 to 97 also took its toll on the area. Changes in economic and social policy, with policies such as the poll tax, took its toll on low-income households. This almost seems where we can start to see the decline of the area and where austerity starts to steep in. The economic disadvantage and hardship that is associated with Bentilee has also had a negative impact on the area. With fewer resources and programs for younger people, it is becoming harder to break out of the cycles of disadvantage. The association with social housing and economic difficulties is also leading people to view it as a deprived area. All of these issues have helped to build a stereotype and create a stigma over the years, something that has been exaggerated in the local media and newspapers. However, many residents feel a sense of pride from the area and are resilient to these claims. The affordable housing along with ease of access to the rest of the city can be seen as a positive for those who have been struggling with the recent cost of living crisis. Outsider perceptions have been shaped from media outlets and the focus on crime and poverty statistics, a topic we will get onto more later, have made it hard for outsiders to see it as more than just a problem area. While these perceptions vary, they reveal a very complex picture. Bentilee has its challenges, but it also has its strengths that are sometimes overlooked. My first experience with crime in the area was when I was 15. A popular character known as Bugsy from the estate was stabbed to death in a racially motivated attack. All of this happened at the bottom of the street where I grew up on. The community came together in memory of Bugsy and there were flowers, candles and pictures left at the site of his murder. And during the evening, everybody came from the estate who knew him or wanted to show their support got together to let off Chinese lanterns. More recently, there have been reports of drug-related crimes, with headlines of Bentilee bust as £30,000 of cannabis and wads of cash seized, and heroin and crack cocaine seized in 1 PM Bentilee bust, has highlighted the area's ongoing problems with drugs. Most recently, the area has faced an increasing problem with the use of crack cocaine. The presence of drug activity has had an influence on young people, and it is seen as an easy way to make money, especially in the absence of other opportunities, and in turn will have an effect on their long-term prospects. Addiction issues often intersect with poverty, unemployment and mental health struggles, creating a cycle that's hard for individuals and families to escape without support. These challenges with drug-related crimes have also had an effect on local health services and police. Between November 2021 and September 2024, Bentilee has had 1,795 recorded incidents of antisocial behaviour and criminal damage, and 73 recorded incidents of drugs, 35 of which have been within the last 12 months. For comparison, Longton, another area close to Bentilee that is also seen as deprived, has had a recorded 711 incidents of antisocial behaviour and criminal damage, and 37 incidents of drugs over the same time frame. That's over 1,000 more incidents of antisocial behaviour and criminal damage, and almost twice as much recorded incidents of drug-related crimes. Social housing has had a major impact on Bentilee, shaping its development, community structure and the challenges and strengths that characterise the area today. Originally, it consisted of almost wholly of social housing, managed by Stoke City Council. However, during the 1980s, the Margaret Thatcher-led Conservative government saw the right to buy brought in, and many of the desired red brick houses that made up the estate were being bought by their tenants, so that now approximately 25% of local houses are privately owned. The stigma attached to social housing can also make it harder for the community to secure investments, services and resources that could benefit the residents. In 2011, Willfield Conference Centre was officially closed and replaced with a new high school. While the new high school was seen as a positive, the area has gone on to lose 2 other high schools. With the loss of Willfield Conference Centre, it has also lost a place that was used for recreation, such as a space for the local lads and dads football teams, swimming and other sports facilities. This impact, along with the closure of other youth facilities over the years, has added to the challenges that young people will face growing up here. While we have seen pubs knocked down and changed into new shops and takeaways, the development of the Bentilee Neighbourhood Centre in 2007 has been pivotal in providing services to the area. The centre is home to the local library, NHS facilities, and it also offers a place for locals to meet at the weekly market here. The centre is also a hub for housing associations where residents can voice any complaints or issues they are faced with. These facilities are important to help improve life here on the estate, and without it would leave a massive void in the area. Bentilee is a place shaped by its history, from post-war ambition to post-industrial decline. It's a town that has seen growth, hardship, resilience and loss. The challenges are real: poverty, crime, stigma and the gradual loss of public spaces and youth support, but so is the sense of identity and belonging among those who live here. What this documentary has shown is that starting life in Bentilee doesn't guarantee disadvantage, but it does mean facing certain barriers that others may never encounter. The stigma attached to estates like this one doesn't help. In fact, it often deepens the divide between perception and reality. If anything needs to change, it's not just Bentilee, it's how we view and invest in communities like it. The people here deserve the same opportunities, support and dignity as anyone else. That starts with listening, understanding and making decisions based on more than headlines and statistics. I grew up here, some of my best memories were made on these streets, and now my daughter is growing up here too. That's why this matters, because change just doesn't happen from the top. It starts with recognising that places like Bentilee aren't just postcodes or problems to be solved, they're home, and homes, like people, deserve a chance.